Marcus Rashford needs to be dropped. Hello there, I'm Ryan Walker. This is episode 5 of Football's Going Home. Today, we're talking about Manchester United's defeat to Fulham. 2-1 here at Old Trafford at the weekend. The worst thing is it's probably a defeat that many of us saw coming in one way or another, because that's the type of game that United love to lose. So we're going to be talking about 3 key takeaways from that game, what needs to change before we play City at the weekend, and we got lots to cover. So let's get stuck into it. Right, point 1 from the weekend defeat. And this is something that's really been bugging me for a while, and that is that Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane cannot play together in defence. It can't happen again, and it needs to be stopped. Now, really, when you look at it, it comes down to one simple thing, and that is that they're too similar a type of player. Not for any of the good reasons, but for all the bad reasons. They're both too slow, both poor in 1v1s, and actually, when you analyse it a bit more deeply, neither of them are positive when they play the ball out from the back, and when they do try to be positive, it normally ends up possession gets turned over. So they just don't work together. Now, it's a shame, but that's the matter of the fact, because with Maguire and Varane, when you combine their 2 transfer fees, you got over £110 million pair centre backs there. You expect a hell of a lot better, let me tell you now. The best example of this is at the weekend here at Old Trafford when we lost against Fulham. And it was the winning goal where both of these were suspect. Now, Maguire, we all know that he's not quick, and we know that Adama Traore is very quick, but he has to do better. Traore drifted past him on the halfway line into acres of space as Maguire was running through cement to try and get back to goal. Then, before you know it, he's at the edge of the box. It was a simple pass into Iwobi. Raphael Varane had time to get out to Iwobi, but he just looked lethargic. He looked like he didn't know what he was doing. And before you know it, Iwobi's turn shoot into the bottom corner, Fulham win. United consigned to our first defeat of the year. Now, when Raphael Varane joined Manchester United in 2021 for £34 million, the hope was that he was going to partner Maguire, who we'd bought the previous summer for £85 million, and we'd have this defensive partnership, which was one of the best in the leagues. And I think the faith and the expectation was that they would be solid enough to lead us to a Premier League title challenge. Now we're in a situation whereby both of them are simply trying to play to be alongside Lisandro Martinez, who is out injured, and when he's not in there, then they just look lost together. When they did play together during that season, Varane's first season at the club, it was blighted by injuries, yes, but that was our worst ever Premier League finish. And now we're in a situation where we're still trying to play them alongside each other, and it's just madness because it doesn't work. Now, I've made a few more notes here on kind of the different solutions that United might want to try. The problem for Erik ten Hag is that with all the injuries that they've got, there's not one that you look at and you go, yeah, that's going to see us through, that's going to be really good. But it's the best that you've got to do with the best that you've got. On paper, Maguire and Varane, good partnership. In reality, doesn't work, shouldn't work again. Now, you've got a couple of different options. You can try and go back to this Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire partnership, all British partnership. Both robust defenders, no nonsense defenders, I think is the word that you'd probably like to use. Both lacking pace, so it would be a really old school setup that United go with. That's one option that you can try. Another option is drop one of them. I think it'd probably be Varane. I think Varane's the player that, out of the pair of them, is underperforming the most. But Maguire got his goal at the weekend, great. Defensively, not so great. And the other solution suits Maguire better, and that is bring in Victor Lindelof from left back, put him in the middle with Maguire. That was a partnership that Ollie got his best finish out with United when he was here in charge of the club. And it's not glamorous, but it works, especially against the teams that we're going to be competing with to try and get in the top 4. It does work. It has worked in the past. Again, the only problem is that means you're going to have to find someone in at left back, which really, when you look at it, isn't much of a problem because Victor Lindelof is shocking there. So put him in the middle and probably bring Amrabat in at left back as well. The final solution, it's a bit unorthodox, but we put it in there because I know that a lot of United supporters have this viewpoint about Aaron Wan-Bissaka that he can be a centre-back. Now, he's currently out injured, trying to get back into the team, recovery. But when he is fit, you could try Wan-Bissaka alongside Varane or Harry Maguire. Again, that would then mean dropping one of them and probably putting again, you'd probably look to put Sofian Amrabat to left back anyway, just because of how Lindelof's played. So that's another option. I think the biggest glaring thing for me about Manchester United's defensive partnership of Maguire and Varane is that I can honestly say that I can't remember one occasion when I've sat there and been like, you know what, that works. They've had a good game together. Or even take it even further, I can't think of a game where I've said about Rafa Varane and Harry Maguire, they've had a brilliant performance. I can remember exactly where I was, what they were doing, what the result was. With the likes of Nemanja Vidic, Rio Ferdinand, I know we were blessed, but over the years you could sit there and you could say, I know we had a cracking game against Arsenal, I know we had a cracking game against Chelsea. I remember that tackle. You can't remember any of it with those two. So that's first gripe. Eric, don't play Harry Maguire and Rafa Varane together again. If you do, here at the weekend against Man City, we're going to get absolutely stuffed. Now, my next key takeaway from the weekend defeat against Fulham is this. Marcus Rashford needs to be dropped. It's a really big statement to make, and I think there's been a bit of growing discontent amongst United supporters for this to happen. And I personally love Rashford when he's on form, and I've been a massive supporter of him over the years. He's the player that I've looked at in United squad and thought, oh, they've got superstar talent one day. The problem is he's 26 now, 8 seasons at Manchester United's first team since making his debut against Midtjylland, and he's yet to get anywhere near that superstar level that we found. He's shown glimpses of it like last season, but this season's just not been good enough. And I think Fulham was the one final straw for a lot of United fans with Marcus Rashford, where they sat there and thought, actually, do you know what? It just doesn't seem like he cares. And I'm sure Marcus Rashford's a United lad, and he's from Manchester. He's born around here near Wivhamshire, and he bleeds red. But the problem is that he doesn't want to work hard enough for it seems. Confidence is a massive thing in football, and when you're not confident as a player, as Rasmus Højlund's proved with his goal-scoring capabilities here after he finally got his goal and broke his duck, if you don't have any confidence, you're not going to play at your best. The difference between having confidence playing your best and actually just trying your best is massive, and Marcus Rashford isn't trying his best for me, and for a lot of United fans think that as well. Now, he's been one of Erik ten Hag's golden boys. He has been the golden boy of the Erik ten Hag era at the club so far. We saw that recently with his disciplinary issues when he went to Northern Ireland and Belfast and missed training for a night out. Kind of was all dealt with privately, not like Jadon Sancho, and, you know, a little bit different situation, but still Erik ten Hag protected Marcus Rashford. Has he done much since? Showed a couple of bright sparks, scored a goal. Not really done much that's convinced United supporters that he's actually wanting to try and wanting to be successful at this club again. And against Fulham, there was little desire to run back and actually be effective running back. We've seen it. We saw it against Luton with kind of one viral video whereby Ross Barkley has drifted past Marcus Rashford. You saw it at a weekend where Fulham players, when they were surged forward, yes, Rashford was deployed as a central striker, but he just wouldn't. He wasn't trying. I think that's the real key word. Now, the supporters here at Old Trafford, if you try and you give your all, no matter if you're the best or not, they will get behind you. When you don't try, they let you know about it, and that's what Marcus Rashford's been told recently by the supporters. 5 Premier League goals in 25 games this season, 31 games across all competitions. He's only scored the 5 goals in the Premier League. He's not scored in any other competitions. Now, when you look at it, break it down, 0.25 goals per game is the expected goals return for Marcus Rashford at this moment in time. And that means he's taken 4 games in the Premier League to score 1 goal. That's shocking. You talk about being a world-class player and the ambitions for United supporters and Marcus Rashford to be this world-class player. That's why he was given a £325,000 contract till 2028 in the summer. But he's not doing it. And you look at, actually, he's older than the likes of Bukayo Saka and Phil Foden. And look at what they're doing. They're harnessing their potential. They're going above and beyond what many thought they would do. Marcus Rashford's dropping off at an alarming rate. And he needs a break. He needs to be pulled out of this team. He needs to be put on the bench for a while. Yes, we all know he's talented, and yes, actually, it might cause some more teething problems than if you carry on with him. But it might be the best chance for him to rediscover if this is what he wants at Manchester United. It's not a situation whereby he's a player that United fans are desperate to hold on to anymore. If you ask him 2 seasons ago, they probably would have been. But we're now in a situation whereby if he doesn't want to prove himself, he doesn't want to fight for the club and for the shirt, then the best option is to let Marcus Rashford go. We're not at that point yet. I don't think we are. But if you take him out of the team, give him a bit of time to kind of come out of the firing line, find form again, find confidence in training if that's what he needs, confidence off the bench if that's what he needs, then so be it. But if he doesn't want to do that and he doesn't improve, then the option's simple. Sell Marcus Rashford to PSG, end his time here at Old Trafford, and bring in someone that actually wants to play for Manchester United. Finally then, I want to talk about this, and that is that Manchester United's squad depth could cost them a place in the Champions League next season. And that was evident here against Fulham at the weekend. We had the news that Luke Shaw in the week is now out for 2 to 3 months. That's his season over. Hopefully he's fit for the Euros of England in the summer. And Rasmus Højlund, of course, after I just made a video talking about how good I think Rasmus Højlund is, he's now out injured for 2 to 3 weeks. So United's list, injury list, they're big additions on it, and it was already a massive list anyway. You know, you've got the likes of Mason Mount on there, never got a season going. Tyrell Malacia, the left back that would be so useful to Manchester United. Now, I don't think he's played once this season for us. A really long-term injury for him. Lissandro Martinez, back-to-back injuries. Now you've got Højlund, you've got Shaw, you've got Wan-Bissaka, you've got other players that keep going onto the list, coming out of it, and you've got people on that list, Manchester United, in the treatment room, trying to get back to fitness, that are not just players that might be in the squad. You know, they can help out like in games. They're players that would be starting most matches, and that's a real big concern. You look at the team that we played at the weekend against Fulham here at Old Trafford. Now, Omari Forson, brilliant for him to make his debut. Not so brilliant if you're Anthony on the bench, wondering why a youngster is getting in ahead of you when you cost £85 million. But that's another issue that we'll cover another day as Anthony's time at United. The problem is that he was only in there as a necessity. And that is because you had Anthony, who's a flop on the bench. Ten Hag doesn't trust him. Amad Diallo, we're yet to see what he's made of. And so, given the problems that United have, we had to try something different. And different sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, credit to Erik Ten Hag for trying something. The problem is that the squad depth that we have isn't good enough to compete with the teams around us. We're 8 points off Aston Villa now in 4th. We're 4 points off Tottenham in 5th. Tottenham have a game in hand on us, and that's really, if I have to look at one thing and think what's going to cost Man United in the race for Champions League this season, I think with a fully fit team, we catch both of them. Absolutely, I think we've shown that in recent weeks. But with a team that you have at the minute, where the only positions that we seem to have for some reason are we have an abundance of right wingers and we have an abundance of centre backs. Unfortunately, they're useless in any other position. Similarly, how Rasmus Højlund's injury, straight back to Marcus Rashford through the middle. It's worked on occasions, but it doesn't work really, does it? It's not an effective solution to score goals when you need them at this time in the season. So that's another highlight of how our squad depth just isn't there, especially with these injuries that we've got. Then, you know, Bruno Fernandes, he can't come out of the team, he can't have a rest. He has to play every game. I'm sure he wants to as well as captain, but he has to because there's no other solution. Alejandro Garnacho, he's only a young lad, and yet we have to play him every game because there's no other option really to play in that position. So it's just an issue of United's injury list is already big. If it gets even bigger with more key personnel missing, then you really start to worry. So what does it come down to? Does it come down to poor investment in certain areas and where United haven't strengthened enough? Partly, yeah. I think it also comes down, like I said, to the personnel that are injured. Other teams have got more injuries than us, but I don't think there's other teams in the Premier League that have got injuries to as many key players as what we have. So, you know, hopefully some of the lads can get back fit soon. And until then, it's up to Erik Ten Hag to find the solutions, because United, as it stands with their current squad depth, they won't be making the Champions League. That's it then for episode 5 of Football's Going Home. Thank you so much for watching down here at Old Trafford again. Of course, there's always so much to talk about in Manchester United because of the size of the club, and I hope I'm doing my best to cover the things that you want to hear. It's still a new channel. I really appreciate the support that everyone's given me. If you want to see more of different things, then please comment and let me know what that is. Leave a like on the video. We've got an exciting new feature coming out next week that's a little bit different to what we've been trying. As always, I'm trying to keep it fresh and innovative, and hopefully you like what you see. So thanks for watching Football's Going Home, and I'll see you soon.